phone because I won't be able to tag you from the Zoom room.
All right.
You're going to have to share from my page.
Okay.
Ta-da!
Are we actually live? We are live.
We are
Pretty
live.
live. There you go.
Woo-hoo.
All right, Facebook. Hi.
Hello, Facebook. Let's see if I can tag you here. Hopefully some people will join us. This is so fun.
Yeah, no, I'm glad to be here with you. I'm always glad to be with you.
Oops.
What's
Okay,
happening?
there's feedback, so forget it. Forget it.
Okay.
How are you doing today? I love your
I'm
hair.
doing great. I love your hair and your lipstick. Nice look.
Yeah, I know.
I like it. I like it. It's
Sometimes I
bright. It's
forget.
cheery. You look great. Yesterday was a tough day, so today's a better day. It's always a better day. Every day gets better and better.
Yeah. Was it yesterday? The other day I was just like, oh my God. But
yeah.
What's our topic today? What are we going to talk about? There you go.
So you know what I wanted to talk about? I wanted to talk about the program that you're offering and why it's a great opportunity for people, especially with what we're going through.
So this is what happens, guys, when you ask for help.
But you know, here's the thing.
To help you.
When we didn't plan this. You didn't ask me to promote anything. You just wanted to talk about what people are going through. And as I was thinking about it, I looked at your program and I thought about everything that people are going through. And I don't think they fully understand what's happened over the last year. Like, we're all surviving it, but there is an effect that's going on inside, deep inside of everyone that is living through this, whether they are affected immediate family members such as yourself, or just what's going on, the seclusion, isolation, what it's doing to our pets, what it's doing to our families. You know, even when they bring us together, they want us separated by these plastic walls, and they're, you know, covering our faces. And there's a disconnect that as humans we need, and we're missing that. And I don't think we're realizing the impact that we're going through. And you know, we just want to get out of this and get back to normal. But I don't think that we're going to get back to normal, because what we're going through is similar to like going through a war, and you come out of it with post-traumatic stress, because there's so much that's happening. And I think what's going to happen, and that's why I wanted to talk about your program, because your program is about bringing you in and centering and finding yourself again. People are sitting at home, they're depressed, they're scared. They don't know what tomorrow's going to bring. Now we've got the riots starting up again. We saw what last summer was like. We're experiencing this, and even though we're in the safety of our homes, it's still a lot of change that is happening, and it's scary. And then when you look at, okay, so let's look at the pets, right? So we have so many people that went out and bought pets because they were going to be home working from home. So now these pets do not know that these individuals go back to work. So when they leave home, the pets are going to be like, why am I alone? They're not going to get it. It's going to affect them. You know,
totally. My dog actually has high anxiety from me traveling a lot.
Yes, it's a lot. And people that haven't had animals, that got animals during this pandemic, don't realize they're not just an animal on a shelf. There's a lot to them. They have emotions, they have feelings. They're not going to understand. They're going to go a little crazy. They're going to feel overwhelmed themselves. They're going to be alone suddenly. So that's something that we have to look into and consider. And I hope that people that may be watching that understand this, that they get a dog walker or somebody to come in, or transition slowly. Don't just go back to work and just leave your pet alone all day, because it's going to make them, right? It's an effect. They're going to go
That's great awareness, actually. That's awesome.
So that's why, like, you know, I really looked at, you know, your program, and I looked at what you were offering, and I think that people don't realize how much they actually need it, which is why I wanted to talk about it. And let me make it clear, you did not ask me to talk about your program. This was not for you to sell something, but I see the need for it. This is an important thing for people. And I don't even think they realize it. You know, there's a life force energy that we talk about with the chakras, that right now, somebody sitting at home, I can tell you, they're discombobulated. They're not centered. Their emotions are everywhere. They don't know whether it's their finances that they may be affected. A lot of people didn't get affected. A lot of people got money from the government. There's a lot of different effects of this thing. This is not just one situation. For me, the biggest is the isolation, especially for our seniors. But it's not just seniors. It's the girl that, maybe she doesn't work outside anymore. And she's home all the time and she doesn't have a spouse, or she doesn't have friends close by. And everything has been this separation, this emptiness around us. And yet we are humans. We need connection. To take that away from us is not, it's such an evil thing. I understand why they did it. I'm not getting into the politics of it. I'm getting into what the effects of it are. The people need help.
Yes, and thank you for that. Let's back up for a second. I want to introduce you properly.
Yes, I'm sorry. I get right into it.
I know, I love your passion. And when we talked, was it last week? I was like blown away by your articulation, by the accuracy. And that's why I'm so glad I reached out to you and to just review my program and see, where am I missing? What am I missing that it's not landing and it's not relatable? And I love how you talked about the whole thing and reviewed it and brought in a way that people can understand it. And thank you so much for even volunteering to do this. But let's tell people how we met and how long we've known each other. And
oh gosh, so we go back to the Tony Robbins coach training. I mean, that's where it all came into. And I think a lot of people sign up for programs and they're very isolated. Again, isolation, doing their own thing. And we developed a group of people and we came together and said, we can do this. Let's get her done.
Right.
Remember the let's get her done?
Yes. Oh my God. Oh, you were with Curtis and
yes.
We were the giraffes.
yes.
And our common denominator was we are all lone wolves, right?
Yes.
And then finally we found our herd, and we found our belonging. Oh my God, these are people who speak the way we speak, or who want what we want.
Right.
Oh my God. Yeah, I felt so like, oh my God. Because I grew up, I walk around as if nobody hears me, nobody understands me.
Yes.
And how would you want to participate in life when you're not received a certain way, but you are expected to just bend down and do as told, right? And
yes.
Bend your wheel. And it's happening a lot now. So, oh my God, thank you for that reminder. Yay.
Yes, but what's also great about that tie-in to that, even though, again, that just happened to be the tie-in, you just said it again. Back then you felt isolated and alone in the way you were thinking, and nobody had the same conversation. And you don't know if you're in the right path, the wrong path. You just know there's a calling in you and you have to do it. And when you see somebody hurting, you have to help them. There is no not helping. That is not an option. So when we found this avenue, and then we got this group, and they were amazing. And they said, we found our people, our tribe, they were right, and that's the same thing that we can relate to with what we're talking about, because people right now are going through this situation, and I don't want to call it a pandemic or a pandemic. I don't want to call it anything, because the politics of it, I don't care. What I care about is what's happening now. And the mental stress that is being put on people because of the isolation. Okay, I'm going to tell you the story that I had heard about these twins that were born. So these twins were born, and one was not doing well, and one was doing very well. And the one that wasn't doing well, they knew was not going to make it. It essentially was going to pass. And what they ended up doing is they put the baby in with the other baby, and that baby put his arm around him. And he came back to life, because connection is our life. That's our force. That's our energy exchanges. We are 100% energy. When you shut us off, it's like unplugging. It's like shutting off the switch. And then we're supposed to walk around and feel whole? No. And that's why I loved your program, because your program is about bringing that back, because we have lost it. It was supposed to be 2 weeks. In the 2 weeks, I can guarantee you, everyone watching this, they said, okay, yeah, 2 weeks. Okay, great. Vacation time. I'm not going to have to go into the office. Let me get my drinks. I'm not going to have pajama time. Like, everybody was excited. I want to tell you, everybody was excited. Everyone I talked to, at least, were like, this is great. 2 weeks, I can do this. But then 2 weeks went into 3 weeks, 4 weeks, 2 months. And now here we are, a year. And that has a profound effect on our state of mind, on who we are. And even Tony's come out with some things, and they blocked him because they don't want any of this information to go out, but this needs to be heard. We're human beings. We're not, we're not cattle. We're not a herd. Don't just put us into, we are human beings that need human connection. And they're by keeping this going, which I don't know why it's still going, because I don't think it's necessary, but that's my opinion. But the problem I see is, even when I see a mask, so here I am, you see me? You don't see me. You don't see me. You see glasses. What do you see? You
The
don't see
minute
my
you put
emotion.
your hand there, your eyes, it lost connection with your eyes.
Complete.
And
that's what the masks are doing. So we have to have them on when we're at work, and we have to have them on when we're out inside, and we have to have them when we go into the stores, it's just, but that is affecting us. So I don't want to get into the, I've said it a million times. Obviously, I have some strong opinions, but I don't want to get into that. What I want to get into is, people need to reach out and realize there is hope and there is help, and they don't have to feel alone. And even just by connecting with your program, which is what I loved about it. And again, I'm going to make it very clear. You did not ask me to promote your program. This is 1000%. You did not ask me to do that. But I'm doing that because I know how many people need it, and they may not read it and understand what they need. They may not even realize how discombobulated they're feeling. They're just feeling depressed. Some of them are turning to drinking and the drugs, and the relationships have broken up. And some have even come in together. There's lots of things that have happened, but we're still like feeling this uneasiness, this tension. And because we don't know what tomorrow's bringing. We don't know when we're getting out of this. What's next? And we're alone in it. No matter who is with you, you're alone in it, because you're in here all the time, speaking to yourself, feeling like maybe you're the only one that's going through this. And I want everyone to know you are not the only one. We're in this together. And I don't mean it with that fake thing, we're in it together. We're in it together. And your program reaches, because we're in it together. Yeah, we're not in it together. Everybody, not talking about it. We want to go into harmony with self. That's what's important.
Yeah,
and
the
that's
energetic resonance. That is we're in this together. Because the suffering that's happening in another being, even though we haven't met, we energetically feel it.
Yes.
It's energetically like we feel it, and then when you come into the room really owning yourself and really in your joy, oh my God, you light up the whole room. Has that ever happened to you?
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, that's what we're doing right now. We're in our place, and we're saying we're not alone, and neither are you. Right? Like that's what we're saying. We're coming into our room. Turn on the light. Re-plug in. Get that life force back. And how when the chakras are all like this, people that don't understand how they work don't realize that all you have to do is align something. And once you get it aligned, there's a freedom, because it moves through you. And now you can walk, and all of your energy is exposed as opposed to being shut down.
Exactly. You explained that so well. Thank you. Yeah.
And you're the one that did the program.
So shut down, so defensive, even defending their own limitation, when you can really open up and really create the possibility that's available if you only open up and align with that life force energy. Oh, that's amazing how you said that's beautiful.
It's your program, girl. It's your program. And all I'm doing is letting whoever may be seeing this, whoever sees it, they may not be live right now, but they may see it at another time. I want them to know, if you're sitting at home and you're scared and you're depressed and you don't know what tomorrow's going to bring. Reconnect with your power, because the power is within you. And with that energy and that power, you can create everything the way you need it to be for your life.
Yes, yes. Oh, beautiful. So now tell me, you mentioned chakra many times. So what is your understanding of the chakra? And I know that can be a turn off. That terminology can be a turn off for people, especially for analytic, like me in the past, 30 years as an accountant. And I'm like,
Oh my God, that's
chakra,
so
what
funny.
the heck is that, right?
So funny.
So I think that there's a natural resistance to not go into that. Ooh, chakra. I don't know what you're talking about. I don't know. I don't want to know anything about energy. So how do you explain that to people in a way that they will feel it and understand it and really activate the deeper knowing? Because I know from my own experience, the chakras is our natural. It's natural to us. It's just named something.
Mhm. You can name it anything.
Yeah, but tell me what you know about the chakra and how can we explain that in a layman's term?
All right. So the way I would explain it is it's just like your switch. You don't see the energy, but the energy is flowing throughout your entire house,
Mhm.
right? So if you get a kink in it, the energy stops flowing there. So when you go to use that plug, it is not going to work right. So you need to get the energy flowing through the house. You're going to call an electrician to come in. I don't have a working outlet. My light's not going on. My TV won't go on. And that's because the energy has been stuck. And we
Oh, I
are
love it.
just like that. So
I
when you
love it.
have energy that's stuck, you may not understand what it is. And you don't have to understand. Whoever's listening, you don't have to understand that part. You just have to know something doesn't feel right and I need help. And when you go there, you turn on the switch and we find out where the energy got stuck. And we are just like the electricians. We unstuck it. And now you can see your TV in full flood, all colors. You can hear the radio. You can get the light because it's not stuck. Each one of
Mhm.
the meridians that are in our body is just like the lines that go through your house. It's no different. So if you,
Mhm.
if you don't want to believe in a chakra, then you don't want to believe that you can turn your light on.
Ooh.
It's the
Yeah,
same thing.
I was typing earlier so fast, right? And I kept typing misspelling all this promotional that I'm doing. I keep misspelling and having grammatical error. And I'm like, oh, so if your fingers are not in the right space, kind of like what you're saying, if
Yes,
it's
exactly.
not in the right place, then you create mistakes.
And you can't
And
get the right output. What you're
yeah,
trying to get out, you don't know why it's not coming out right. Why did
yeah,
you feel good? Why are you miserable? Why do you just feel off? And then you
right.
can look for reasons and excuses. Is that your little one?
Two of them.
That's all right. I got the cats meowing, so we're good. So yeah, what were we saying? We got off the track
Well,
there.
let me ask you something. You talked about asking for help. So from an overachiever, from very independent superwoman, that was me, right? That was my
Mm-hmm.
archetype in the past.
Right,
To ask for help would be a blow to my ego.
right,
It would mean I failed miserably. It
right.
would I cannot figure anything out, and then there must be something fundamentally wrong about me, in me. And of course, I will not ask for help because I wouldn't want you, Lisa Marie, to think I'm stupid, to think I'm not all there, right? Because I spent all my life to create this persona that I'm all put together, that I can figure it out, that I don't need a man.
Right, right, right. I love that. I love that.
And you told me the other day to go back to where I was before, where I was in so much pain, that I started looking for Tony Robbins, for mind mastery, actually, because I was procrastinating a lot and I couldn't function anymore in
You
the
just
work that I
answered
was
your
doing.
question.
Yeah, but it was a long process.
Right. It was a long process because back when you started, There wasn't enough information out there. Look at what the internet has done over the years. Look at where we are today. Half the people don't even watch TV anymore. They go to YouTube and they watch videos, or they watch Netflix. We're more on
Or
the
gaming.
internet, right? We're more now connected more than ever, even though in that connection we're isolating more, because you're over there in your house and I'm over here in my house and we're connecting. But if we were in the same room, our energies would really be right there, and we'd be in a we'd blow up the internet. There would be no question about it. But what was the most important thing that you said was you got to the point where you couldn't no longer function the way you were. And that's the
Right.
person that starts seeking some sort of help. Now, what my experience has been, and I'm sure it's been your experience as well as anyone else that's in our industry, somebody that is ultra successful in one part of their life is miserably in the other side. So if you've got a great relationship, not so well business wise. You got an awesome business, not so great relationship wise. And as we keep shifting, then we put the attention into one and the other one fails. And then we're like, well, I can't, and we try to juggle everything. And the key really is we're not failures, no matter what we're doing. We're just experiencing life. And when you get stuck, if you want to get to the next level, you have to ask somebody who's already done it and been there, like what you just said. You were stuck. You were miserable. You didn't know where to turn, and you started to seek answers. Now you are the answer for people that are coming behind you, that are feeling the same emotion. You now can say, I've been there, and let me tell you how you do this. You're going to shorten their curve.
Right.
Because you didn't have it, right? So you, right back then, when I started back with Tony, let me say how long it's been that I've been doing Tony. I'm going to say I was 29 years old, and I would hate to date myself right about now, but we're going to say
29. Wow.
29. I was 20. Actually, I was probably 28. So we're going to say you're going to have 30 years onto that. So, but you know, when you go back that far, that's, you know, nobody was, couldn't even talk about Tony back then, because people were like, oh, that's a, you know, he's a brainwasher and watch out what he does. And all he was doing was giving us the tools for ourselves, for us to figure out where we were going wrong in our lives and what we wanted. And he didn't say, this is what you want. He didn't say, this is what you want. This is what you do. He said, what do you want? What are you doing different? Then do it this way and get what you want. He never said what he wanted us to do, right?
Right.
It's always about what we wanted. So he doesn't, you know, he goes, look, if you're stuck, I can help you get unstuck. If you're depressed, I can help you get undepressed. You know, like all these things that he said, and nobody's going to go, yeah, I'm stuck. Yeah, they're not going to do that. They're going to call up in their house and get the thing that he sends the tapes to your house. And they're going to sit in their house and go, okay, nobody knows I'm doing this. I'm going to get the help I need. And then you realize, wow, there's a lot I don't know. And then you start looking further and you're like, this guy's got something. And then you go to his live events because you're like, he's got something. And I learned a lot and I grew and I like my life. And then you take it to the next level, because as humans, we never stop growing. We never stop learning. We never stop growing.
Well, that brings me back to when I first got introduced to Tony in an Oprah show.
Oh.
And I really felt at that time, this was 2012, I really felt that my whole life was turning upside down, you know, that the rug was pulled from underneath me. And I felt that, oh my God, Oprah did the show just for me, because she invited Tony, Iyanla, Dr. Michael Beckwith, someone else. There's a couple more. Oh, Deepak, of course, and Eckhart Tolle. It was a whole summit. It was
that's a nice group of people.
This was 2012, and Tony comes on stage so loud, so tall, so big.
Yes.
And I'm like, I don't like him.
Oh my God. I love that. See, I love that.
And the reason I don't like him is because I was rejecting my own big energy. So I find him obnoxious because there's an obnoxious part of me that you all are now experiencing. I get to be obnoxious when there's a injustice in the world that I cannot stand witnessing. And I'm pushing people to look at it, look at it,
Yes.
look at it. Don't hide under the sand anymore.
Yes.
Unbury your head and look, because you are the answer to the problem that we are going through right now.
Right.
So that's my soul power to the people podcast. And now how
Right.
do we return to that? So
Yes.
it's just fascinating to me how I softened up to Tony because, of the training. I was already signed up for awakening training end of 2012. And then I came into a series of videos of Tony. And I thought, I really wish I could take this, but I'm already signed up to this training, right? So I totally ignored it. I'm not going to sign up on two things at the same time.
Sure.
And then I saw another 5 series of videos. And I was in Winnipeg. I was with my mother and my sister in Winnipeg. So I was in someone else's house. I was in their lower level. Everyone was upstairs sleeping. And I was crying so quietly all by myself. Because it was so touching me. Every transformation that he was doing on video for people, I finally understood where I was in my behavior, pushing people away. And no wonder none of my relationships worked.
Wow.
And the miracle that happened was because I wouldn't invest anymore because I was so tied, right? That was the accountant in me.
Right.
Nope.
Right.
We're going to make this one work before you invest in another. My awakening coaching training got moved to May so I can invest in this.
Wow.
And be part of the Robbins Madonna's strategic intervention coaches. And I'm like, that was a miracle in and of itself. And so now I started tying how the universe, talk woo-woo here, was really lining me up for success. Yes. And I was crying and breaking down and crying and breaking down. I call it cosmic 2x4, right? Where I just had to experience those bang in the head so I can finally listen to the guidance, to the soul.
Well, you know how many people get that bang in the head and they don't listen and they still go into the spiraling down. You have to take that step. And not for nothing, we paid thousands of dollars for our programs. They were not inexpensive programs. So your program is being offered at
$333.
That's right. It's a real cost effective. It's actually a drop in the bucket for what you get out of it, because what you come out of it is 1,000 times more.
Right.
And look what it did. Look for you how moving that and doing that changed the course of your life. You have to be willing to step outside of what you know and go into something you don't know, because what you know has gotten you to where you are. And you cannot get further without getting a different mindset to take you to the next level. You need something to come in. And if you don't get it somewhere, whether you get it reading a book or you get it online, some people need it to be given to them. And that's why really, I'm telling you, that's why I wanted to come on and talk about your program, because I think that there's so many people that have no idea the benefit they can get for themselves. And it's what is it, just 7 weeks? In 7 weeks, they can be sitting at home right now, just like you, in the basement, crying, looking at their lives going, I don't want to do this. I don't want what's going on. I don't like this. And I feel so stuck. And then
I was crying alone because I was still sitting in shame. I didn't want my folks to come and rescue me, for one thing, or I didn't want them to worry about me. I didn't want them to think that there was something wrong in my life. I was suffering alone. It's like, so much weight on one shoulder. Yeah.
How sad
to not
is
be
that?
vulnerable, to not reach out for help.
And you were suffering. Sad. You were suffering alone.
Suffering alone, yeah.
Suffering alone. Do you know how many people are suffering alone? And now it's even worse, because back then we didn't have everybody in lockdown. We didn't have all this craziness going on in the world. We didn't have masks separating us. We didn't have family members not being allowed to be with them.
Oh, I know. That was my choice, to be alone.
Exactly.
But
we didn't. Now it's forced. This is a forced suffering. and they do not need to sit there. They can take their life back. They can take action, but they need people like you. They need people like me. They need people to say, hey, don't do this no more. Step up, step into your power. Let me show you how. You're not a failure because you don't know how. It's like if you sent me to Spain. I don't know how to speak Spanish. Am I a failure because I don't know how to speak Spanish? No, I just have to learn it. Give me the tools, I learn it, I speak. Done. No failure. But the failure is in not realizing and reaching out and saying I need help and then getting it.
Yeah. Yeah. There's
Now,
no failure until you completely give up.
well, and that's it. You have to hit that place where it's either you're going to put a
Yeah.
verbal, kill yourself, or you're going to do
Right.
something.
Right. And even that part, I call it the dark night of my soul, right? Where, okay, finally I'm getting help. I'm getting that mind mastery that I Googled about. Okay, so I know
Yes.
now how to have mastery over my emotions. I know how to shift. But then there was still this lack of purpose, that pain of purposelessness, because I just empty nested, or I was actually anticipating the empty nesting, and I was already so depressed and burnt out. I was functioning from burnout because I was a single mom for a long time, and I
Oh,
gave
me too.
all of myself, to this children. And then when they started showing independence, which I taught them, right, to be independent,
That's
to
right.
be assertive, but it beat me in the
Yes, it does.
behind,
Yes,
because,
it
oh my
does.
God, I'm not needed
Yes.
anymore.
Yeah, that's the hardest part for sure.
So um I really collapsed my energy when I couldn't see, talk about chakra, the third eye. I couldn't see my future anymore because I was so tied into that identity of a mother as an accountant. And who knew? If you told me 10 years ago that I would be doing this, I would have hidden. I would have gone to the mountains.
See
So
that?
there's
See that? And meanwhile, look at the inspiration you have been to so many people.
So I can really, really understand the battle between the mind and the heart, and the ego and the spirit. I can really understand that and break it down for people step by step. Why are they behaving the way
Yes.
they're behaving?
Yes.
Why are they meeting their needs at such a low level when
Yes.
they can actually meet it in a way that rejuvenates them, replenishes them, and nourishes them?
Yes.
But
Yes.
we think we don't have a choice, but we do. The power
Yes.
of choice is ours.
Well, it comes from where are you focusing on, right? So if you go back to what you're talking about, so you were an accountant and you were a single mom, and that was your focus. So you probably were a workaholic to some level, and you probably devoted yourself 1,000% to what you were doing and to your children. But at the same time, you weren't paying attention to your spirit,
Yeah.
who you are, an individual. You are not just a mom. You are not just an accountant. You are a human spirit that has emotions and feelings and wants and needs. And when you put so much out, you put yourself last.
Right.
And
Yeah.
we do that. We do that.
Yeah.
We put ourselves
And I
last because
felt
I'm
so
okay. I'm
empty
okay.
and burnt out.
Yes. And meanwhile, we're not okay. And we don't ask for the help that, because what happens is we're helping everyone. What are we going to ask them for the help? We're the ones helping them.
Yeah.
So then that's when you get to that point when you're in that room by yourself and you're ready to break. And you know that it's either going to be you're stepping off this planet or you're making a change. It's one or the other.
Believe me, I wanted to step off this planet. I'm like, God,
Yes, yes.
you made a mistake.
I know. And you know what's great for everybody to hear this? Because they're doing that right now. I guarantee you. There's no doubt in my mind there are many, many, many more people than back in 2000 and what did you say, 2012?
That was 2012 for me.
So from 2012 to 2021, there are so many more people this year because of what's going on that are feeling that. And that's why our suicide rates are going up for the children, because they don't understand. We're adults. We can talk ourselves through, okay, I know what's going on. I can get through this. The kids don't get it. They're not with their friends. They're not playing hockey. They're not in their tournaments. They're not doing the things that make them feel alive, and they're getting depressed. So yeah, this program you have, and you specifically are the right person to help them because you get it.
Mm,
That's all I'm
thank
saying.
you.
That's all I'm saying. Hey, listen, I talk truth. I don't blow smoke nowhere. I talk truth, and I know who you are, and I know your spirit. And this program you have, it's like you're just trying to reach out and help people. You knew what programs helped you, so you're trying to do the same thing. You've got a message for people, and not everybody can go out and spend a couple $1,000s in a minute. Nobody can do that. Okay, fine. There are many that can do that. A lot of people can. So you made it an affordable program, which is even more respectful of you because you just want to reach the masses. That's how I feel. That's my personal opinion. Again, you did not ask me to do this. I want to make sure people understand this was not asked of me, but I know who you are and I know what you got. And this message you just put out there is telling people why you're the person that can help them because you've seen it, you've been there, you wanted to step off. You know, when people don't realize, they think they're the only ones and they're ashamed. No, when you're in silence, that gives strength to the demon. You know what I'm saying? So no, they come out, figure it out. They should call you and ask you questions. They don't have to just sign up. Ask you questions. Talk to you personally. Hey, I'm thinking about it. This is what I'm going through. Would this help me? Tell them to do that because you can help so many people and they need it.
So while you were saying that, sorry about the train.
I didn't even hear it.
In the Philippines, it's in the Philippines, not Philippines. In Minneapolis, it's the sirens and the helicopter hovering above. And
Oh,
this time it's at
wow.
least every other day there's the train. But what was I gonna say when you were saying that? Oh yeah, so it's about the price, right? It's about the price. From an accounting perspective, for me before, um, and my sister laughed at me because I wouldn't even buy a $9 book. And then all of a sudden she heard me, what? You invested that 3K, 6K, blah, blah, blah. Is like, it's a whole education for me. I'm embarrassed to say how many thousands of dollars I invested in so many programs.
No. Don't be embarrassed about that. That says the knowledge that you have now taken in that you can give to someone else that they don't have to pay those same thousands of dollars to get it.
I could buy a house in Nebraska.
Lord have mercy. Wow. No, I get it. I mean, look, the Tony events, you don't just pay for his event. Now you've got the hotel and he doesn't put you in the little hotels. They're the fanciest hotels in town. You're spending a lot of bucks, but you just, again, proved the point because you said, I wouldn't even spend $9 on a book, but I knew I had to spend this money because I needed to change. So you had to step out of what you were doing if you wanted to move past where you were. You cannot get past where you are. If you're doing the same thing, it's not going to get you to the next level. You must do something different.
And I also can understand people not wanting to invest. And thankfully, most of that investment that I did was really helpful. And like you said, Tony has a saying from decades to, or from alive to decade or something. He shortened the amount of, from decades to days, I think is what he says, really shrink the amount of agony.
Right.
Why prolong the agony when you can have the solution right now?
And what does he say? And what does he say? He says, get somebody that already has been through it. Get somebody that is where you want to go and ask them how they got there. And that's you.
Yeah. And I can also understand, it's only 333, but that's a lot of money for me. But here's the deal. I worked for a company before that really broke my heart. I already have my certification and stuff like that, and they hired me. And I was supporting all this brand new coaches or coach. They want to be coaches. They want to save the world. They want to really step up and do good. But what was happening was people are taking advantage of those dreams and mission. And it
Yes.
broke my heart because
Yes.
now I'm coaching people who have invested so much that they were thinking of filing bankruptcy.
Wow.
And the methodology that was used was the fire hose methodology, where here, buy this program. Oh, yeah. Oh, make sure you buy this program. And you have 2 years to complete that program, all the things. And people just get paralyzed and not move anymore. And I'm supposed to coach these
No,
people who bought
no.
these programs. I had to quit that world because I could see how it was emotionally manipulating people into having these big dreams.
Right.
And
And all they
only,
wanted was that check. They really didn't care
yeah,
about the outcome.
right. And so
I mean,
I
I will say,
am,
I can't say, I got to back that up. I can't say they did not care about the outcome because I can't speak for them. I don't even know who they are. And I don't know their motive. But I do know what you mean by the sales organization. It's a sales organization. It's not about the caring of humanity and saving somebody's soul or what they're going through or helping that single parent that just lost the father or, somebody just lost their parent, like what you just went through. Like there's a lot that goes into that. And we genuinely reach out. We want people to come through that because we know what that door looks like. We know what it feels like to be sitting in that basement and feeling like there's nothing that's worth being here for. And we know that precipice, that at that moment, somebody's got to pull me back or I'm out of here. And
oh,
then
yeah,
and because you probably, like I did, went in your head and went, I cannot do that to my kids. Can't do that to my kids. I got to find a way. And I got to figure this out because I cannot do that to my kids. It's probably the only reason I'm still on this planet myself. Because, I cannot leave that. I can't take away my pain and leave him with a lifetime of pain that he cannot get rid of.
right, right.
Right.
I could
So,
remember being in so much pain, being so much soul anguish. I can look back now and see it. It wasn't a clinical depression. It was a spiritual depression.
yeah.
It was soul anguish. It
And
was
that's
that
worse.
separation.
That's worse.
Yeah, that separation from our spirit. Because what happened was we get programmed into machines and we just do and forget that we are spirit, like you said.
You heard
We're,
what you just said, right? We
yeah,
get programmed like machines. Does that sound familiar for this whole year?
yeah.
Right?
And we can't
Worse.
even question anything.
It's so much worse.
It's an insult to
And
to
how
our
I
soul.
realized how bad it really is, and this is, my experience. I was watching an old movie, something that was just an old movie before all this stuff, and just watching the crowds of people, I was getting into this little bit like you could feel the panic, like look at all these people on top of each other. And back then we never even thought about it. But now it's like, don't come close, 6 feet apart. They're separating our energy completely. That you want to talk about just going through the emotions and just being like a cattle and just,
Yeah.
this is
And
the
you know what I
time.
did? I was really praying for God to take me back. I wouldn't end my life myself. I knew I wasn't suicidal. But if I wasn't so aware of my thoughts,
Right. You would have
I
taken
would
action
have.
that would have led to,
I would have, because
right.
I was watching my thoughts and I was already thinking this and this and this. And I'm like, oh my God, I can't. There was a time that I couldn't trust my own mind anymore. And I had to put headsets 24/7 to listen to Wayne Dyer, Marianne Williamson, and so many people just to get me out of that space of darkness
Right.
because I was gonna harm myself if I didn't. But there's a different way. You don't have to succumb to burnout. You don't have to succumb to
No,
disconnection or
no.
the
And now it's so much
loneliness.
easier. It's so much easier because we as coaches to help people, it's so much more, like people accept it more because you hear it now all the time. Oh, you need a coach to help you with your organization. You just call it a coach. It's really somebody that's been there, knows it, and can get you through it faster and help you hone in. What is it that you're having a problem with? And you know what's what I find the greatest thing for me when I am helping somebody, when I'm talking to them and they're telling me their problem, I'm realizing their real problem that they don't even know exists. And then when I start to trigger on that, and then you see this light bulb go on, and then suddenly they're like, oh my God, I didn't think about that. I didn't put that together. And it just changes the trajectory of everything else they're doing. That one moment, that spark gets lit, because they're dead people walking. They're not in their grave. They're walking and they're dead. And when you flick that little spark and they realize, oh my God, I have felt this way. I have thought that's exactly what I've been doing. And they didn't even know they were doing it. It was so automatic. And the minute they switch that, everything else works. And they go on this whole nother trajectory. And it's my greatest moment, because there are people that will say to me, no, I'm not doing that. And then I'll say, yes, you are. And then I'll give them the examples of what they just said themselves, of why what they're saying they're not doing, they are doing. And then they go, oh my God, I did just say that. Yeah. And then they can release it, because without acknowledging it, it doesn't go anywhere. You have to acknowledge it. You have to deal with it and move it on.
You have to give it permission to set you free.
That's right. That's right.
And so one other thing that coming up as an objection is chakra work is not the work of God. It's
How can it not
against
be the work
religion.
of God when it's energy?
Do you
It's
know?
energy.
Do you know that early on in my being a coach, this was many years ago now. Oh my God, I've been a coach for a long time now. A family member told me that you cannot speak in my church or in my community of churchgoers because your work is not Christ-centered.
Wow. Wow. Well, you want to know? I'll tell you, I'm going to answer that one for you too. So I had a friend of mine who is very, very religious. He has since passed away. And he was religious the same. When he hit his rock bottom, he found the church and he became extremely religious. And his brother was a massage therapist, and that was evil. And I didn't understand it. I'm like, how is a massage therapist evil? Because it went along with the chakras and it went along with all of that. Well, let me tell you why, my opinion, why the church feels this way. My opinion.
Okay.
Because they don't want us to know our true power, which is what you're trying to wake people up to with your programs, the soul power. They do not want us to know the true power. We are God. We are God's energy in us. We are God's life in us. We don't need somebody to go to a room and he can tell us what God's going to say. And he can tell us he's got a connection to God. No, we have a connection to God. They don't want us to know that, because then we are powerful, and they don't want powerful. That's where it's all. You can go back in history. They took things and they separated it. So we did not know that we have God power in us to create and to destroy. The same.
And recently I discovered, just to your point, that there's part of the Bible that is called Gospel of Mary Magdalene.
Okay.
My entire life I was taught in religion that she was a bad prostitute, a whore.
Yep.
And this deception, I can't stand it.
Deception. Keyword, deception.
Yeah. And pushing down humanity to such a low level of consciousness that we are not standing up in our own power and true connection with God, which the life force energy is.
Yes.
Thank you for that. Thank you for bravely speaking up about that, because there's so much shaming. There's so much making anything wrong as if what you're saying or doing is against the will of God, when in fact we are an instrument of God.
That's right. Well, I'm not going to go into what's going on, because there's a lot going on with the whole church and everything that's happening. But I will tell you that we are ready. We are ascending. We are raising our consciousness. We are finding our power, and we are learning that the spewing that they were throwing at us from every direction was to keep us down, because powerful people are not controlled people. We are powerful in our own right. We are human beings. We are in the image of God. We have this energy that goes through us, And we can create, just like he made, Jesus made people see and cure the heal. Do you know that you can, and there's a lot of, I've done this work as well, you can heal your own body. You have the power to heal your body. But in order to do that, you have to break free of the controls that you are nobody, you can't, we do, you listen, you're the sheep. When you learn your power, you don't need to go get chemotherapy. You need to feed your body with what serves it, and then you need to heal it by knowing you have the power.
Absolutely.
That's how I feel. I'm just gonna say it's how I feel.
I can back you up on that with my own experience with depression, because both my parents gave me the gift of contrast, right? So I grew up not with an aversion to alcohol, with an aversion to pills, with an aversion to domestic violence, with so much. So I'm strong and superwoman, like I said in the beginning, because I saw where weakness was a weakness, right?
Right.
It's like I was just observing. I wasn't saying anything, but I wouldn't allow that kind of low level lifestyle to be my path. So now here I am, depressed, and I am actually reaching out to people. Hey, I'm depressed. You know what they tell me? You're strong. You can figure it out. There was none of that connection. Hey, how are you feeling? What
Right.
makes you say that? There was
Right.
none of that. It's like, you can figure it out. You're strong. If anyone can do it, you can. And so in that depression, in that almost suicide, I
Mhm.
couldn't take pills,
Mhm.
and I couldn't drown myself in sorrow because
Thank
of
God.
my own
That's right.
rule not to be ruled by prescription. And so I had to, holy shit, face my demons
Right.
the raw,
Right.
painful way. But oh my God, the liberation after that,
Yeah. Yeah.
that
And thank God.
ownership.
You know what? You started, one of the things you said is you now see how the universe has connected everything. That was an important part of your first connection, by knowing don't turn to pills and drinking, because that does not solve the answer. That just makes you escape it. But when you want to come out of this oblivion that you've escaped to, it's still there and you still have to deal with it. So by growing with that as not being an option, led you to where you are today. Made an impact on you, to that you are now in the position where you have all this spirit to be able to reach out and help that next person out. Whereas if you would have turned to the drinking and the drugs, where would you be? Because what is it? You can't even get out of depression once you start taking the depression medication. You can't get out of it.
No, because
It's
you've
almost like
numbed yourself so much you
does.
can't feel.
It does. And I don't discount anyone that feels they need it. If you need it and you feel you want it, you have to do what's right for you. This is an individual choice for sure. But the power to really is within you. And I mean heal. I don't mean, oh, you can figure it out, you're strong. No. You know what? Yeah, you did figure it out because you are strong.
Yeah.
Right.
And I'm going to talk to someone about pharmaceuticals, the effect of that in dumbing down consciousness. There's someone who's going to come on the Soul Power to the People podcast show explaining that, because his son suicided because of overdose. And so
terrible. Well,
the,
even
you
I'm
know,
gonna talk about that one too, since you brought it up.
well, yeah, these are all connected,
We're
right?
all over the place.
It's
You put
dumbing
these
down
little
of
nuggets
consciousness.
there. The thing that I know about the pain medications, which is big, because you get, you have an accident or you break your leg, then you get on the pain medication, and then, now you're addicted, right? It's a hook. And the hook really is what I have found. Again, my experience, I cannot speak for everything, but some of this may resonate with people that hear this. What I have found is when you take that medication for the pain, now you no longer need it for the pain, but the medication is meant to be very painful as you're coming off of it. So you think it's your pain. It's not your pain. It's the medication triggering pain. And if you can hold off through that pain, then you get to the other side. But it's meant to make you keep wanting it because you're in pain. But you're in pain because it is keeping you needing the pill. It's
You
not.
know, yeah, my doctor had to fire me because I wouldn't fill the prescription that they would
Yeah, I get
prescribe
fired
for
a
me.
lot
because,
too. I refuse to take medication. I'm not a medication person. You're not going to cause another problem so I can solve one problem. I'm going to solve where the problem's coming from. If you go and you take a medication, all you're solving is a symptom, not the problem.
Mhm.
You need
Yeah.
to solve the problem.
Right.
I
Yeah.
mean, there's
And
a time and a place. Again, I'm not going to say don't take medications, but for me, nah, no, my body knows what it needs, and I give my body what it needs. And when it speaks, I listen, and then it does what it needs to do.
exactly. Oh, I love that you said that, because so what you just brought up there is your own resonance, your own intimacy with your vibrational frequency through your body. Because the mind lies, right?
Right, right.
Its function,
That's right.
the unintegrated mind, okay, before anyone corrects me.
Right. The
When the
unintegrated
mind
mind, yes.
is functioning from survival, then it wants you to just feel safe, right? But
And
there's a
and
way.
and, and I'm going to
Go
add to
ahead.
that because the mind takes information in. So we're constantly deducting. What does this mean? What does this mean? What does this mean? What does this mean?
Right.
All day long. That's what it does. But the heart only goes out. It doesn't go in. So when you hear it from your heart, it is real. It is
It is
not the
real.
filters of all the stuff that's trying to figure out, did it mean this? Did it mean that? Did it mean this? No. The heart has the same energy. It's
Yeah.
actually more powerful than the mind. And that energy
Yes.
will always tell you what's going on.
And now, through the soul power, your chakra work, we are going to learn how to integrate the mind
Love it.
and the heart so that they're
Love it.
harmonized and
Love it.
unified
And then you
not
know what you're listening
fighting.
to. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So that's the integration that I'm talking about.
Love it.
Yeah. Anything else coming up for you?
No, I think that I don't how long have we
A full hour.
we did pretty good. Listen, I enjoyed it. I hope that people that see this reach out to you and find out about this amazing program that you have that's 7 weeks. Again, I'm going to say, I get nothing. I am not a partner. I am not in this program, and you did not ask me to do this. I am doing this because
You should
we
write my
need to help
script.
people.
You should
We need
write
to
my
help people.
marketing program.
The time is now. People need the help. And if they're lost and they don't know which way to go, they should contact you and find out if this is the program, or maybe you have a different program that would be right for them. But they should definitely find out about it. Absolutely.
Well, thank you so much. Your support and you're so much love. I feel it. I feel it. I feel it. And also, let me just say this. Okay. So it feels like I have two parts of me, right? But really, it's not. I have the Soul Power to the People podcast that's pointing out the forces out there that is really it's an organized crime against humanity, because what
Yes,
it's doing
absolutely.
is dumbing down our
Yes.
consciousness,
Yes.
lowering our immunity,
Yes.
lowering our vibration, so we are not thinking for
That's
ourselves,
right.
so
That's
that we
right.
are not experiencing ourselves as an instrument of God. So
You're
we
absolutely
are
right.
constantly praying, please save me, when you and only you can save yourself. Of course, with the help of God, with the co-creation with God, not separate, not from, oh my God, I am so not enough and unworthy, please rescue me. No, that is from a learned helplessness that was programmed into us
Mm-hmm.
from the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yes.
And we're
Yes.
breaking out of that into the soul power, which is the
That's
work
right.
that I'm doing, that I'm so
That's right.
passionate about.
And right out of it, God helps those who help themselves, right? So you have to be in conjunction with him. He gave us free will so that we can decide what we want. And if you want to sit there and cry on the corner, and he will come and say, okay, let me try to nudge you a little bit. But if you're not paying attention, where you reach out and take it, you got to be the one to make a step. Somebody's got to make a call. They've got to reach out. They've got to say, no, this is not where I want to be. That does make sense. And they got to take action, because then suddenly the doors start opening. Because
You mean
God
you gotta
is
take
waiting.
action? Really? I thought the law of attraction.
The law of attraction. It is and that is what it is, because even in that, you're taking action. Even in the law of attraction, you have to do something, because we're attracting all day long. We're attracting good, we're attracting bad. And the people that think they're bad and I'll never have this and I'll never have that and that's not for me, they're attracting exactly what they're doing, right?
Right. Yeah, you really have to take action.
We can bounce off of any subject you want to go with.
And this right here is me taking action. When you said, well, I thought we were going to talk loneliness, actually. I thought we were going to talk about
Isolation and
how
loneliness, yes. But I think we got that
as far as
message out.
right, but in reference to our elderly.
Yes.
But
Yes.
it's okay, Mom.
Well, listen, if we take care of the kids that are taking care of their elderlies, then at least we're
Right.
helping them somehow, you know?
Right.
Like the message is getting out there and what we need to do, you, me, and other people that are awake, we need to rise the vibration of everyone. This is a new world we're coming to, and we need to rise our energy up, not be held down. We need to see our power. We need to share. We need to come together. This division, this, whether you're black or white or rich or poor or vaccinated or not vaccinated, it's all meant to keep us down. We need to say, you be you, I'll be me. My biggest thing is, I don't care what nationality you are, you should be damn proud to be who you are. And that's okay. And I don't have to make you less because you're not me, or I'm less because I'm not you. No, we're all equal because all of this is a facade. Inside, we are one. We are energy. We are godlike. Why are we separating? Stop listening to the people that are telling you there's a reason to be divided. Take back your energy, stand up, and realize that you have the energy and the power for yourself to be connected, not disconnected.
Oh, beautiful. Yeah, beautiful. Oh, I love you so much, Lisa
I
Marie.
love you too. I've really enjoyed talking with you.
Me too. I should do this more often.
Anytime.
Show with Tess and Lisa Marie.
There you go.
Oh,
Anytime.
really, thank you. This is really great. I wasn't expecting this. But guys, the Soul Power to the People podcast, 3:00
Oh, there you
Central
go.
Time in a couple of hours. Join me at the Soul Power to the People podcast page. We're going to talk about indoctrination. So we've been indoctrinated from the beginning to just comply and
Right.
be complacent and not
That's right.
question, right?
That's right.
So how do we step into our soul power? Is to first become aware of the programming and the conditioning that we're used to take our power away, you know. So that's the show. And then tomorrow, my course, 7-week Back to Wholeness, starts at 7 Central Time.
So now
And
if somebody sees this before tomorrow, can they still get in?
There's still time.
All right, there's still
to
time,
register.
folks.
Yeah.
Get on there, do it. Call her if you need to.
And if the 7 p.m. Central Time doesn't work for you to join us live, the replay will be available, and I am available for you to, if you're going through something and, okay, Tess, I'm ready to throw a glass of water at my husband. Let me know. We can break that pattern, and we can see what is coming up on the surface. And this 7-week Soul Power Your Chakra will really bring you back to the center, into oneness, body, mind, spirit, so that your soul can inhabit in your body, in the physical, so you can live life as love, unconditional love in flesh, as the face of God, as the hands of God, right?
Love it.
Yeah.
Love
So
it.
thank you so much for joining me and Lisa Marie.
My pleasure. Thank you for having me. Okay.
All right. This is wonderful. Thank you,
Love
everyone. Love you. Okay.